Good morning, everybody. Well, I figured I'd step up this morning for a little bit, have a little coffee, see if anybody's around. Hey, Off Grid, how's it going? Figured I'd step up for a little bit this morning. Yeah, it's a beautiful one. Hey, JC, had some storms come through again last night, but everything fared well outside, so that's a beautiful thing. Cheers, everybody. My one cigarette of the day that I allow myself with coffee is got to come to an end soon with these humid temperatures out there, I tell you. Yep. So what's everybody smoking on this morning, or is it too early, which it definitely shouldn't be for people? Yeah, it is. I got about 5 acres in total off grid, and out of that, about a little over an acre is I have to mow and like that, and I have my garden on and all that stuff. But my most underused thing is I've got a 50 by 30 barn that if I just had power out to it, I would be king of the hill. I'll tell you that. Yeah, brewing coffee at the moment. Absolutely. Cheers. Nice, JC. Nice. Strawberry banana kush. I'm smoking on some Master OG this morning that I grew. That plant that I had two of them that got super super dark purple, and I will tell you that is had some fireweed. Wife and I were smoking it last night, and she was like, "Where'd this come from?" I'm like, "We grew this," so that was pretty sweet indeed. Well, I think it's time for a morning rip. If anybody's interested, cheers, everybody. Hey, Blazing Silver, thanks for stopping by. Ooh, I learned not to try and talk when I got a mouthful of smoke. morning, morning, Scotty. Hope to catch live later. Well, I don't know if I'll be on later, but I'm usually always hanging out in off grids or someone like that. He's got a great live that he runs all day, so that's pretty cool. Pretty cool indeed. Birthday cake, nice off grid. Somebody gave me some boppers the other day. I haven't looked it up, see what it's cross with, but I'll tell you, the stuff is fire. Really is. It's nice when somebody gifts you something that you haven't had before and that's really some fireweed. Now, the question is, where can I ever get it again? If I can ever get it again. So, I don't know. I don't know. That's an interesting one. So, anybody got anything excited planned for the day? Fire in the hole from off grid. Trying to still get used to this whole thing for the live studio, trying to figure out how it works if I ever want to bring somebody up onto the screen with me. Hayes 420, hey, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for stopping by. I really didn't fully. Oh, nice. You did some defoliating off grid. Yeah, I I knew that the plant would bounce back, didn't realize how quick it was going to start bouncing back. And one of my clones that I got to tell you this is pretty cool. Somebody gave me a Blue Sunset Sherbert clone, and I wasn't really thrilled with it because it was kind of tall and lanky in a roundabout manner. And I like my clones when I get them just to not be that big. But so long story short, put this thing outside in a 10-gallon, and I go out there yesterday after the wind. The wind had perfectly laid the plant down. So I put a wire on it. I got it scrogged now, and it's going to be pretty massively cool. Just have a plant laying down with all those sites. Yeah, here I am rambling. My nice Stardust coffee mug with David Bowie on the front of it from my daughter, who will be returning home in less than a month from Colorado, where she's been for 2 years getting her master's degree. Hey, Vince, how's it going? Thanks for stopping by. I think I'm going to rip a little more of this and see if this time I'm not going to be coughing my head off. That's the downside with all the rain and the humidity. It makes things sometimes a little more difficult for us older people when it comes to smoking. Cheers, everybody. Excuse me. So what's everybody got planned for the day? I know I got a lot of watering to do. I've been trying to hit the girls in the morning and at night. I didn't last night because of the rain, but I mean, I know, my father who ran greenhouses for years and was a florist also, I was talking about all the rain, and he's like, don't you know, your plant's so big, very little of it gets in the pot. And I sat there and was thinking for a minute, and I'm like, really? You tell that to my pots that now weigh like 7 pounds from the rain from last night. So, but that's okay. That's all right. They'll all dry back and everything will be fine. So that's a pretty cool thing. I appreciate you all stopping by here and hanging out. I really do. Should have planned out what exactly I wanted to talk about. Hey, Brett, thanks for stopping by. This is cool. Nice that you came up this morning. Well, it'd be hard to come up any other time because this is only my second live that I've ever tried to do. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool indeed. Planted 4 autos that I showed the other day that I transferred into solo cups once I used that. Panda, what's up? Brother Panda's in the house. Oh, I'll get to the grow dots in 1 second off grid. Let me just finish talking about these autos that I planted. For one, I use Seedsman and Hooligan genetics, so really good genetics. Popped them in the can, which it was like 36 hours, and I had 1/4 inch plus tap roots. Planted them all, and yesterday everything was up with leaves, so that was pretty fantastic. So now the grow dots, I'm not disappointed. I read what it said, and I went with 3 teaspoons per gallon of soil, and that was the recommendation for a heavy feeding. Mixed it all in with the soil, and then I top dressed a little bit of it too, and that's the only thing I've added. I take that back. I've added recharge twice. But, when I'm feeding or watering or putting a tea down or anything like that, I mean, it's 15 gallons a shot right now. So it's quite a bit. But, in talking to other people, I was told not to be unrealistic and that, other people have had things drinking, 20, 30 gallons of water a day, depending on the size of the plant. So, yep. Cheers, everybody. Haven't done any measuring outside lately. I should do that. I know that's a rite of passage, you know. I don't know how I want to measure mine, though, because I'd want to go height, but all of them are bent over from all the wind that we had. So I'd kind of have to, hey, Robert's Place, how you doing? Thanks for stopping by. The ones that are laying down, I almost want to measure them at an angle just to see how long, they actually are. But I'll just do it from the height of where my highest coal is on the plant. But, you know, yeah, yeah, on sunny days, sunny days, sunny days. Yeah, they definitely are drinkers. Definitely indeed. What's everybody else in here running if you're growing? I'm just curious. Off grid, I know you got a lot of good stuff going. It's one of the dogs walking around. At least he's being quiet right now. He'll go over and sit on his love seat. The three dogs have their own personal love seat that they sit on here in our den. So it's kind of nice for him. Sorry, I was just reading in the chat. What do we got here? Looking around at a couple of things. Pop out dashboard, channel level settings, send feedback, manage. No, I don't know what that stuff is. Jason, good morning. Good morning. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. I'm doing fantastic. I just decided to hop on this morning. I didn't see a lot going on, anybody else's lives to go to. And I figured once again, why not? I got to try not to be as intimidated by this whole setup and all that. But reading off grids. Yep. Kylo Ren's Truth Times Chronic Job of Moon Magic, Twizzleberries, and some backup local RFE4s. Yeah, I get that because after I had said to my wife that I didn't want to have any backup plans, I turned around and now I have backup plans. So that's okay. I've only got 3 backups, so I've got 5 that are pretty sizable right now, my 3 backups, my 4 autos, and yeah, yep. Sorry, I'm getting caught up trying to catch up with the chat right now. Amnesia Haze, watermelon, Skittles, strawberry tea. Nice, Robert. Nice. Nice. Hey, it's good to see you too, Jason. Enjoy that coffee. What are you smoking on this morning? Yeah, because shit happens. That is very true. I sometimes tell the story of my first year growing, and we had just moved to this house. So we bought the house in the winter. So we didn't know fucking everything about the house. We just didn't. So I'd started my run inside. I planted blueberry muffin, planning to go outside with them. So I take and I plant in this 50-gallon ceramic pot this gigantic blueberry muffin plant. Thing was massive. So I had given some to a friend of mine for her husband. And he's like, oh man, mine's budding like crazy. I'm like, well, mine smells like blueberries, but I don't have any buds on it. And he's like, that's weird. Our plants are the same age. So long story short, I walk around to the back side of the plant and it's completely covered in buds. I walk around to the front and there's nothing. And then I happen to turn around and look. There's a light sensor light up on a post, and it was coming on when it got dark, which of course would be after we went to bed usually. And it would be off in the morning when we got up, so I never knew it was there. So I basically stunted the growth with light on, more than half of my first Grow Outdoors plant. But it happens. So I don't know. That was my story. Yeah, shit happens. I'm smoking nothing. Gotta get some. Yeah. Yep. Well, yeah, it's a funny story. I don't know. It's as long as I don't do it again. That's the way I look at it. I've had a lot of funny ones. I learned the lesson of don't bring outdoor plants indoors because I had this outbreak of aphids that I decided to cure by buying 3,000 ladybugs and bringing them into my grow tents. Now, let me tell you, it did work out perfectly. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. They didn't leave the tent or anything like that. They stayed there and they ate the aphids and then they slowly disappeared, which was a great thing. Yeah, they disappeared. I don't know where though, because it's not like we found 3,000 ladybugs all over the house. Every now and then you'd find one, that was straggling around somewhere in the grow tent. But other than that, no. So, but yeah, it just was a real pain having the aphids because they ended up being in both tents. And yeah, they can be a pain too. But I've been lucky, knock on wood, that my IPMs really kept on top of things, See, what do we got going on in here? Yeah, true enough, off grid, we do. Or we try to learn from other people's mistakes, but sometimes it seems like we have to prove ourselves by making that mistake ourselves. Thanks, Jason. A little dirty. I just changed out some water in it, but yeah. Yep. My wife picked this one out. What's funny? I think we all have a huge assortment of glass at home, probably, but we have our go-tos, and this seems to be our go-to. We used to have a go-to dab rig too, but I upgraded to the Balmy rig, and we love this thing. It just makes life so much simpler. Exactly, Crumboy. That's why I love watching other people's grows during the season because somebody else will probably have the problem before me. Yeah, true enough. True enough. Yeah, ladybugs get bad here in Missouri sometimes part of the year. Yeah, yeah. I was mentioning before that my father had greenhouses, and of course, back when he had them, you could put all sorts of pesticides and stuff like that. But he tried not to because he was also an earth science and biology teacher. So my grandparents' house, they had these big oak trees in front, and when the leaves would fall at the bottom of the trees or in the crook of the tree where the branches came together, these pink ladybugs would go there. And I'm not just talking like 30 or 40. I'm talking my brother and I would fill up coffee cans with them. and then bring them back to my father's greenhouse, and he'd let them go, and it would take care of the stuff. So that was kind of cool. Kind of a cool way of doing things. Cheers, everybody. It's bong 30. Well, it's actually almost 9:20, so that means it's going to be 4:20 somewhere. Hey, Chris, how you doing? I like to bring out the old school dab rig when I'm having somebody dab the first time. I want them to see what it's like, to bring that big torch out and just blaze that rig. Yeah, I want them to be humbled, and then they can see another rig and see which they prefer. But I think there's pluses and minuses with both. The no matter what, unless you're staying on top of cleaning them all the time, then they're a pain in the ass. Like when you use them too much in a given evening and you're like, oh, I'll clean this tomorrow. When you go to take the top off from it, like on this one, taking this piece off, the whole inside of this down here will just be caked with reclaim at times, which is unfortunate. But if you're staying on top of it, it's not going to be a problem. Just like we are with all our glass. I don't know. I try to clean my rig at least every other day. When I say clean, I mean change out water, blow out the recycler and, the ash catcher and stuff like that. But I don't know. I will tell you that Master OG is some pretty good weed. See if I can show you guys the bud of it. It's one that was the dark purple. All right, Jason, I'll catch you later. Let's see here. Let me see if this light, I'm going to try for a second. Oh, that made things bright. I'm not going to leave that on, but I just wanted to make sure you can take a look at this. It's focusing pretty good on it, but there we go. Yep. That bright light on it doesn't do it justice. It lightened it up a lot, but in all reality, it is, it's dark. It's a dark purple, which is pretty cool. It's a good strain. It really is. I wish I knew what the genetics were on it. I mean, I know it's Master OG, but I don't know who it came from. CB, what's going on? Good morning to you. Just enjoying some coffee, enjoying some smoke. We're showing off a couple of little buds just because why not? That's what I'm smoking on right now. And I got to grind some more up too while I'm sitting here. This is my small grinder. That's sarcastic, but yeah, I picked it up a while ago and I absolutely love it. I don't know how much it actually holds, but I know I can grind probably 3.5 grams in it at the same time if I want to. I wouldn't, but that's about how much this thing will hold at once. I don't know. Somebody bought it for me as a joke because I have big hands, and I was like, this is like the best grinder ever. At least to me. I like it. So. Oh, did it off grid? Nice. Oh, I got to back up a second here. I just measured my big girl. I hope she's almost 7 feet tall, but she's still 6'10". She's going to make it. Give her a little vitamins. She's going to be just fine. She will be just fine. That's going to be a beast of a plan off grid. It really is. Gotta love these Grove bags. I don't know if anybody uses them. I mean, I use jars too because I run out of these, but you know, I do like them. I like the cure in them. I mean, I came across some White Widow that I've been curing for almost 9 months the other day, and my son, just like my wife, said to me, "Whose weed is this?" And I'm like, "It makes such a difference if you're curing as opposed to, being out of weed and poaching it as soon as you get a chance." Oh, and I called that a Grove bag. I don't want to be a liar. It is of Grove bag likeness. I don't remember the name of the company that puts these out, but I got them on Amazon, and it's like 10 of them for $18 or $23. It's a good deal. It was a good deal at all. And I figured, for one, not to be rotten, but I've pissed away $20 on something worse before. And I figured I'd be able to use them anyway. But yeah, they're great. And the ones I got, those ones hold a quarter-pound each. And I generally don't fill them all the way up with a quarter-pound because depending on what cultivar I'm pulling down, depends on what my yield's going to be. Summertime, completely different. But when I'm running indoors, with the exception of those 2 gelato plants last year that I pulled a pound off from each of them, yeah, I don't generally grow for earth-shattering yields. My outside stuff, obviously, that's completely different. So, bum 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 bum. Sorry, just reading the chat real quick, seeing what we have taking place there. Oh, I was talking about something the other day in a couple of different chats that I was in. My wife often likes things from the dispensary. So I went the other day just to see what I could find for her because every now and then I like an infused pre-roll, and I don't make a lot of those myself. I can't roll a joint to save my life. Pre-rolls, I can do pre-rolls till the cows come home, but I'm not about decorating the outside with, oil and keef and all of that. I'm just not there yet. But so they had a BOGO in this one case, and they had Old Pal, classic shareable infused blunt, glass tip, 2 grams. It's a sativa by the name of Fresh Squeezed. There it is. Let me tell you something. This son of a bitch tastes straight up like oranges. The sweetness, and then, the sweetness on the inhale and on your lips, it kind of envelops your whole mouth. And then from there, on the exhale, like when you're all done coming up on the back side of your nose, when you breathe out, just like you finished eating an orange, and you get those terps and that profile. It's great. It was great. And, it's cool when you can find something like that. I mean, I don't see myself growing anything orangey. I think some of my next photo runs, I've got 4 different kinds of the lemon variety of seeds, like lemon haze, lemon crack, and some of this other stuff. And I'm probably going to grow those, get them out and see what's going on. And then on another channel, which doesn't exist anymore, and I don't know why, and that's okay, but I had 140 seeds on there. They're just all regs. So that I really have to think about. I had, as anybody who's followed my channel since I started posting videos, that this last run that I had, we were yanking males left and right from plants that were, from seeds and genetics that were supposed to be females, so that's where you get into some of the questionable, genetics, I think. But, I can't complain about, the seeds that I got when I first started, or even partway through. Anybody who's ever dealt with the website Everything 420, I order a lot of my gummies from there. But at one point in time, they have all these different mystery boxes. A dab mystery box, a edible mystery box, a vape mystery box. And at one time, they had a seed mystery box. It was $49.99, 10 different kinds of seeds. So, that's questionable. Are they shit? Are they this? Are they that? Well, it was 5 of each kind of seed. So you ended up getting 50 seeds. You're paying about $1 a seed. Yes, those were some of the ones that threw the males, but the Master OGs came from there. And as I had said before, those were the ones that got super, super dark purple, and that's pretty cool. I mean, to know that, I understand the questionability of when you're buying from some of these seed trader companies and like that, but this is really going to be, the proof is in the pudding with these autos that I'm running also, because, if I can run an auto, really good genetics, and get the desired results that I want, then just for me in my own mind, then I know that if I'm going to be running really good genetics, then obviously, I should have better plants, better yield, stuff along those lines. So. Do, 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 do. I think I'm going to see if there's anything left in this. Hit it one more time. Guess clean up a little bit, and then I will just ground up some of that Master OG. So I'll see if I can get a excuse me. See if I can get me a picture of this. I'll flip that light back on again, and we'll see if you can see it in here. Let's see. There we are. Yeah, it's much darker. It's light I don't care for all the time. Almost coffee. Yeah, I'm hitting the bottom of my cup of coffee right now. So it's all right. I got a bottle of water, and I'll go with that. So, interesting one. I got a son of mine. Son helps me with all my growing and like that. He is a manager at a cafe about 20 minutes from here, and that puts him about 20 minutes from Syracuse, New York. So just proximity, that puts it, I don't know, 30 minutes from my house. Syracuse, that is. So he meets all these different people, and he comes home one day and he's like, Dad, there's this guy that comes in all the time, and he always reeks of weed. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, yes, we were chatting. And suddenly Next thing you know, I'm showing him pictures of your grow on my phone, and come to find out, he runs a farm up here and he wants to meet you. So I'm like, that's cool. So I'm going to get an opportunity to go to see someone's actual cannabis farm here in upstate. And that's pretty sweet. Pretty sweet indeed. To have somebody look at some stuff that I'm growing and think that I'm doing a nice enough job that they want to at least meet me and have a conversation with me is pretty cool. So, yeah. Yep. Pretty cool. 1 second, I gotta flop screens. No, maybe I can do this on my phone real quick. I got a cottontail rabbit climbing on my wood pile. I just saw that off grid. Nice, nice. I got some baby rabbits out in the yard. I don't know where the mama is. Normally she's around. I know I had to put some traps out because obviously having my house in the middle of 5 acres is, I have all sorts of wildlife that comes up on the house. So I had to put some traps down because this one day it was like I was the Pied Piper of field rats. I mean, so bad that I had to put down like 8 to 10 pounds worth of tomcat poison and a whole bunch of traps. And lo and behold, within 48 hours, they were gone. You know, just different. Different indeed. Let's see what we got here. Oops. Well, I'm going to sit on here for, I don't know, a little bit longer. Sorry, I haven't had a lot to chat about, but I think if I do more of these, I will have a better chance to maybe plan out what I want to talk about. Or if not, I guess just let it flow and tell some stories. And, if people think that's suitable, and that's suitable. And if they don't, that's okay. I'm probably still going to come and talk anyway, because it gives me a chance to talk about this community and as well about other stuff, so that's kind of cool. Kind of cool indeed. I really appreciate you guys all being up into here. You know, we do have such a great community, and there's so many different facets and parts of it, and it's nice that, at least from what I've experienced, there's not a lot of the clickiness going on out there. I'm sure it exists. I can't say, I guess what I mean is like, there's not a whole segregated part of YouTube, the YouTube cannabis community, that are just the vapors or just the strict. I know they're out there, but I don't see a lot of it. Or, I'm strictly dab, anything else sucks. It's nice to not have to deal with that. Just because in my head it's petty, you know. Let's see if we got a little of this left. Chip away with another drag or two on that Singularity coffee smoke. 4th of July is coming up. Everybody got plans to go and do. I know up here it's weird. Instead of having our parade that we have every year on the 4th of July, they always do it the closest Sunday. When I grew up, it was on the 4th. Didn't matter what day of the week it was. That was the day the parade was. And I can tell you how I remember that, because my brother was born on the 4th of July. And that little shithead would turn around every year and be like, I get a parade for my birthday. What do you get? And he was right. Being born in August, I didn't get shit. Well, I mean, you get birthday presents, but there was no parade, not like what he got. And it wasn't until I was older that I realized he was just being a dick, that it really had nothing to do with anything other than that. But I don't know, I was supposed to go to a cookout on Sunday for my sister's biological parents. She's adopted, or part of the biological parents. I don't know. But yeah, might do that. She's getting ready to head off to Alabama for 8 to 10 years. Her husband took a job transfer, and when he's done with this, he'll be able to retire. Not too bad. Not too bad. The company that's relocating him is picking up everything. It's pretty nice. It's a pretty nice deal. Yep. So I don't know. I think I'm going to wrap this up, everyone. I want to thank y'all for stopping by. If you aren't a subscriber, and if you aren't a subscriber, why don't you subscribe, like, share, and subscribe? I appreciate each and every one of you, and thanks for stopping by. Outlaws, I was just getting ready to get off, but I'll stay around for a minute and say, hey, how you doing? Yeah, just enjoying some coffee and a couple of bong rips. I just packed up another one, so there's no reason why we shouldn't just fire this up. Ah, that's the way to go, puffing and relaxing. Puffing and relaxing. Well, cheers. If anybody's interested, got a bong set and ready to go. It's really good. This is the Master OG. See what this is over here. Sorry, I'm just looking at this for a minute. Timestamps, reactions, moderator activity. Huh. Pop out chat, send feedback. I don't know what this shit is. Moderator activity. That must mean, what does that mean? Does that mean I can make somebody a moderator? Ah, must. All right, that's cool. Huh. I'm going to have to figure that out. But I just did something that said, welcome to live chat. So that's on my side, but I don't know. I was getting ready to end things up with just saying how much I appreciate everybody being here. You guys are all great. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. Oh, you are. There you are, off grid. Were you getting your coffee? Yeah, that's what I figured. I was thinking if I really wanted to step off for a second and grab another, or just walk away, grab a cup, and then come back. It's not going to take that long. Yeah, let me grab another cup of coffee real quick, if you don't mind. And you get to look at my den and see my dog sleeping on the sofa. Yeah, iced coffee does sound good. I was outside earlier and it's like being in a fucking wet blanket. It's what is it right now? It's only 70 outside, but we had all that rain last night and yeah, it's just so humid out at the moment. Yeah, that's all right. The plants are either going to like it or they aren't. And if they don't, it's just going to harden them up some and that'll be fine. That will be fine. On the coffee, everybody, cheers. Yeah, Brett. Yeah, I figured. I try to keep in mind where everybody is, you know, knowing that things grow much differently. I'll pick on off grid for a second. I was showing his plants to my wife the other day, and she's like, wow, it's so much different there. Or, how come your plants aren't necessarily where his are? Hey, Home Grow, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you. Uh, yeah, and I was just explaining the difference in the openness, how much sun everything gets. Whereas for us here in upstate New York, we have a much shorter season. And, this year I stuck my plants out really early, and they got smacked a couple of times with low temperatures, but it just made them stronger, I think. So. Home Grow, what you smoking on this morning? We're just having coffee and a couple of bong rips or whatever it is that you're doing. And if you're not, well, then just kick back with some coffee. I think it's time for another bong rip. Cheers, everybody. Excuse me. Jack here and Gluey. Nice. Nice, Home Grow. Gus puked all over the floor and your bed. Yeah, excuse me, my medium dog, my middle dog, did that the other day, and they throw up that water and everything, and it's all freaking mucusy, and yeah, it's a mess to clean up. It's worse on a fucking carpet, let me tell you. It's like a big freaking slime ball, and of course they got to throw up 3 half-eaten pieces of dog food with it that you got to chase around like little fucking ducks in a pond that you used to play at the local carnival or whatever it is. That was different. I was different, but I love my dogs. We got 3 of them. We've got a black lab Roddy mix that was my daughter's dog, but that I've taken care of for the last 2.5 years while she's out in Colorado. So he's very partial to me now. His name's Nugget. We've got a pug who's 12 years old. His name's Otis, and he is just a cranky old man. And then we've got a Chug, which is a cross between a Chihuahua and a pug. And yeah, He is a different kind of dog. He is a different kind of dog. The big Roddy lab mix drags him around a lot by his neck. So over the years, he's developed a big scruff that you can pick him up with, and he doesn't even care. So it's kind of funny. Kind of funny indeed. I love the dogs too. I do. I've maintained that when Otis passes away, she's getting really old, that I didn't want to replace him. But then I'm toying with the fact of, as crazy as this sounds, I was thinking of a Great Dane because I love big dogs. But then I was thinking of great piles of crap, great big dog food bills, and stuff like that. Plus, they don't live long. That's another thing also. Big dogs generally don't live to be a million years, So, I don't know. We had a Chihuahua once that when we got it, it was, I think, 11 or 12 years old. And the people wanted to put it down. And I said, well, if you're going to put it down, because they were moving, they couldn't keep it. I said, I'll take it. It's old. It's probably going to die. And I don't mind that. I'll take care of the dog. So this little dog, whose name was Taco, little Chihuahua, lived to be 17 years old. So you can't really tell, I guess, also. But I do know that the bigger dogs are problematic for length of age. You got German Shepherds? Nice. Nice indeed. I've always thought they were pretty dogs, but they get such a bad rap, because you see them. I don't see a lot of people with them as pets. I see them as police dogs up here. And if people do have them as pets, I don't know. I've never really interacted with them. I'll take your word, Brett, that they're probably great dogs. I'm sure they are. I mean, I honestly, everybody's met an aggressive dog, but just by breed, I've met nice Doberman Pinschers and I've met asshole Doberman Pinschers. For example, just picking on them as a dog. And the same thing with Rottweilers, Pit Bulls, and all that. My Pit Bull lived to be 15 years old. They just passed away. I'm sorry to hear they passed away, but yeah, these dogs taken care of and loved and, brought into the vets if they need to go to the vets and stuff like that that makes a big difference. It really does. Wow. Just almost started a forest fire in my hand. That would have been awful. We're getting ready to come up on an hour point here. That's pretty cool. I think my last one was like 14 minutes long because the room suddenly filled up and I panicked because I was like, what the hell am I going to talk about? And I was trying to read the chat at the same time I was doing everything, but you guys are all super patient as I fuddle through this, so I appreciate that. Just like everything else, just like us growing. We hope other people make the mistakes we're going to make before we do. It's like on this, I'm just clicking buttons every now and then and seeing if anything happens different. So I had mentioned earlier, I was talking about 4th of July. Anybody got any good plans for it? I know that, as I had said, I was talking about our parade that's going to be on Sunday instead of on the actual 4th. And they do fireworks, which we can see from the house here. We don't have to go anywhere to do that, which is kind of nice. They'll do those on Sunday. Yeah. Yep. So, I don't know. They got all those places that sell fireworks up here, but they're all ground fireworks. They're not allowed to go up over a certain height. So I can't really see spending money on that. When I lived in Connecticut, we used to go buy them out of the trunks of cars. People would just roll up and all, when you got to be around summertime, especially around the 4th, And yeah, I mean, you'd pay $100 and you'd get, you know, this gigantic box of stuff that you surely shouldn't be getting. You know, these things that are going, 150 feet up in the air, or, the little bottle rockets. I don't know. We used to take the bottle rockets. This is when I was younger. And everybody would bring their wiffle ball bats outside because the wiffle ball bats were made out of blown plastic and they had that hole in the end of them. So you'd take the bottle rocket, you would stick it in the hole in the bat, and now you had a bazooka. And you could light it and aim it at someone. And it was pretty effective. Pretty effective indeed when you were young and stupid and had to explain why you got burn marks on your face and shirt when you get home to mom. Yeah, the good old days, I guess. Huh. Dab Marino. Hey, thanks for stopping in. I appreciate it. Yeah, I got a million stories. I do. I'm lucky to have led an interesting life. I've worked a number of different careers. Stay home and swim and light up the fireworks we bought the kids. Nice, Outlaws. That's awesome. That is awesome. I talk about our family on here. We also have our families at home that support us in what we do, or hopefully they support us in what we do. I have, it's been about the last year that my dad's came around with me growing and like that, and I feel bad. He's 82. He's a wealth of knowledge, but he's starting to forget a lot of stuff, you know, so rabbit. Yes, let's fucking go. Thanks for stopping in. Boy, I'm glad I hung out longer instead of ending this when I was gonna. Get to smoke some more, get to hang out with some more great people. This is awesome. Wild Bill. Wild Bill. What's going on? Let me know what you're smoking on. I'm getting ready to fire up this bong again. Just tend to it real quick. Just finished some of the backyard. Nice rabbit. There you go, Wild Bill. Repack that up. I'm smoking on some of the Master OG today, Wild Bill. That I am. Well, everything is great here. Really is. Really is super great. I'm on my way over. It is good. It is really good. It was one of the best out of the 5 different strains that I grew. And to be honest, I didn't know. I didn't know if it was going to be an all for show because it got so dark and was such a pretty plant. And I did learn a lesson with that too. I didn't really share it with anybody because it pissed me off. But the 2 plants, I didn't have enough room inside one of my tents. And as I had said before, I had a power issue in my basement and I lost my whole 4x4 down there. One of my 2x2s had clones in it, and the other 2x2 I've been growing mushrooms in. So, that being said, one of those plants I kept inside, the other one I put outside to finish, not thinking that it would try to reverse itself because in the beginning of the summer, it's light out a lot longer, it's your veg time and whatnot. So that one, though potent, my yield kind of sucked. So, again, We live, we learn. I learned. Dragon Fruit Z9. I started trimming yesterday. Nice. Tree Nug, what's going on? How's it going? This is, as I said earlier, this is awesome that everybody's stopping by. You know, definitely a nice way to spend the morning. Cheers, everybody. Some nice back-to-back rips right there. Uh, Hey Dab, if you're still in here, what do you got going on in your grow right now? I'm been a slacker and I haven't been stopping by some people's channels in a bit. If not, I'll just scroll back through and hit your channel afterwards and take a look at everything. Carolina, smoking blue gelato with G90 runts and some Alien Labs batter. Nice. Nice indeed. Anybody in here do any pressing of their own? Got a press. Used it a few times. I know coming off from this summer, I'll definitely be using it. I've got the wash machine for doing bubble hash. I've done that a few times. That's been pretty cool. I don't know how much of it is in my head or in anybody's head, but I got to tell you, the first time that you actually press something of your own, it's incredible. It's kind of like the first time you get your first harvest. I think it doesn't matter how bad that weed is, you're going to get high off from it, and it's going to be like, high school high back there. So I don't know. I'm rambling again, but as I said, I do that a lot. Jump all over with different stories and stuff, and some disbelief about how I grew harvest. I know, isn't it awesome, home grow? What's even awesomer is when you take a look at the little seed, and then when you get close to the end, you look at these stalks that are, as big around as, a freaking 20-ounce soda bottle. It's crazy. Super sour candy and atomic runts mix, finely cured. Nice. Nice. Forbidden Skittles, live resin. We got a lot of good stuff being smoked right now. It's nice. It's nice indeed. That is nice indeed. Wow. First grow ever harvested over a pound. That is awesome, home grow. That is awesome. That had to put you on the moon. Let me take a look up here. I didn't catch where you said what you were growing, home grow. DT, good morning. Cheers. Cheers. Thanks for swinging in. Off Grid got arrested for his first grow. Nice. It's funny. It's probably not funny, but it is funny. That's pretty funny. It really is. Oh, it was by Brothers Grimm. I saw earlier that you said that. Thank you for clarifying that for me. They probably did, Off Grid. They probably did. I'm sure they took everything, but I see it did not deter you from continuing to grow. But then you're also out in the middle of nowhere right now, which is, yeah. Hey, for those of you that are still in here, how long have you been growing for? They left your loaded bong so you could sit there and get high and just look at everything that wasn't there. That sucks. That sucks. Nice, Wild Bill. Nice. I'm coming up on 4 years growing. 9 dab. Nice. 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 That's cool. That is cool. It's, I don't know. You know, it's something I kind of never thought I would do. I mean, I ended up growing. I don't grow the rest of it. When Florida became legal, I want to plant some beans. Nice. Yeah, I figured you've been growing for a while, Off Grid. 22 years. I guess you're king of the hill. That's cool. Yeah, I ended up growing because my son was very interested in it. So I was like, all right, for Christmas, I'm going to get you everything that you need. So I started buying shit. First thing I was looking for was a tent. So we had this place here. It's a big place that deals with pallets and Amazon returns and shit like that. And hold on one second here. Oh, and so Amazon returns and all this other stuff. So I had a friend of mine that worked there, and I said, "Hey, do you ever get any grow tents?" And he's like, "We got one right here." So it's a Vivo Sun Grow tent, 8 by 8 by 8, which I didn't really think too much of, and realized once I got it home, I had nowhere to put the fucking thing. Nor did he have the space to put it. I thought he could just take one room in his apartment and do that, but he was like, "No, I can't." So, long story short, I started with a 4x4 tent from Vivo Sun. The 8x8 still not set up. And then I've got another Mars Hydro tent that's a 4x4, AC Infinity 2x2, and another small Vivo Sun that's a 2x2. So that's what I have for tents at the moment. The 8x8, I ideally want to set up out in the barn once I get power out there. But, you know, I don't know if that's going to be worth the expense. You know, if after I go and talk to the people at the farm, that guy that my son hooked up with, you know, I will see if I'll see what they're looking for. You know, I do have somebody for next summer who's looking for 100 clones. So that's kind of cool. Uh, so I'll definitely have to ramp the shit out of anything that I'm doing to do that. So, yep, that's all right. Nothing like having clones all over the house. I mean, I think I've got my one cloner holds 48. I've got two others that hold 12 each. So, yeah, yeah. Again, I'm sure that story went nowhere, but I appreciate you guys hanging out and listening to it. Off grid. Yeah. Brett, 74. I just saw that. Yep. Yep. You're the official king of the hill. That's awesome, though. That is. Oh. Homegrow, what are you putting in? Photos or autos? Folgers in my gosh. The 12-hour shifts. Yeah. Yep. I don't know. I'm at a point in my life whereas I am deciding what I want to do for the next couple of years because I'm close to retirement. And yeah, I mean, ideally, I'd love to work somewhere in this industry. I don't care how much I make. I just want something to do full time that I can just stick around on until I retire, which probably sounds pretty shitty, but I once I got involved in this and started being a part of this community, it's just really given me a different outlook on a lot of different things. So, just appreciate all you. Photos Homegrow. Okay, cool. Cool. Old dog here and still high. Yeah. Yep. Oh. Oh, Off-Grid's packing the lavender. Second cup of Joe. Huh. Hold on a second. I just remembered. Sorry. All this time I've been sitting here and I forgot to message my son and tell him I was going live so he could tune in if he wanted to. So. I have a 3x3 tent and no light. I have to wait a while before getting a new light for my new tent. I got a good deal on an AC Infinity light for one of my 4x4 tents, so I now have a backup light in the mix, which is kind of nice. I know by the time I get to using it, the technology is probably going to be so old, but I look at it this way. We grew for how many years without this magnificent technology of balancing PFD and this, that, whatever, and I know your yield can always be better. I know your plant can always be better. I know your grow can always be better, but grow it your way. Do what makes you happy. There's a lot of people out here that'll be more than glad to help you in a positive way with your grow or with whatever you have going on. So, just with my indoor yet. Problem is, I pull all my plants early. They always like they're done. Yeah, tree nug, I suffer that too. I suffer that in not knowing, and that's not knowing. It's just figuring out that right time. I've done it where I've ran it, to the plus or minus, 5 days that they say that, you should flower your plant for. And that's just not always the case. It isn't. A perfect example was I ran those jet wreck autos. I ran one upstairs and one downstairs. So there was about a 10-degree temperature difference, which is fine. That's going to affect the plant. But the one with the 10-degree lower temperature went into flower and faded super quick compared to the other one. Like when I put them next to one another, it was like the one from downstairs with the lower temps was almost wanting to dry on the stalk. It was kind of freaky. All right, Brett. Hey, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you. Yeah, thanks, man. Really. You guys are great. They get their lean on when it's almost time. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, breaking my rule today. Probably because I'm sitting here and just, yeah, yeah. Sorry, just reading the chat. Just reading the chat, seeing what you guys are talking about. 70% cloudy, 50% amber. Yeah, that's pretty good, home grow. That's probably where about the same as to what I like to sit around. I've heard that the more amber that you go, the more indica-like effect you are going to have from the plant. Don't know if that's truth. Don't know if that's bro science, but I do know that letting everything go to amber is nowheres near as enticing and has such a different taste profile than if you are going with like a 70-20-10. So off grid, I'm on the edge of overfeeding, but we only got a month of veg phase left. Let's fucking go. That's true. That is true. That is true. Just got a month of veg left. That's why I said we'll see what happens with those clones that I put out there. They're small, but they'll do something, and I'll take something off from them. I mean, I got that one that's going to be scrogged out, so that's going to be cool. Yeah, that's going to be cool because I haven't done that before, and it just so happened to be that that's how it's going to work. So, yeah. Okay, clear trichomes equal uplift, cloudy trichomes equal balanced high, amber trichomes equals lethargic high. All right, I can buy that, Tree Nug. I see of nothing wrong with that. I think that would be pretty accurate. Upper body and couch lock. Yeah. Yep. That's how I feel about the gelato that I grew last year. We ended up with a lot of it. I used some of it for edibles. Problem is a lot of people when they want edibles, they want something that's going to rock their ass off. These were super chill. I mean, you had these and you were just like, I am kicked back for the night. So, little different. People didn't necessarily want those as much. I think if I had gotten a hold of some people who were looking for that CBD relaxed, whatever, I think that would be a similar feeling that they would have got. I don't know. Hamp Killer, what's going on? Hey, thanks for stopping by. We're just kicking back, getting our smoke on, drinking some coffee. Next time I make edibles, let you know. I definitely will, Rabbit. I definitely will. Yeah, I think the only one who really enjoyed the kickback, laid back high was my stepfather. He is he my stepfather? No, maybe. Yeah, my stepfather. Yeah, he's a way back stoner, and now he's at the point where, as he's gone through some cancer shit and like that, he's looking for the kickback, laid back high. So maybe I'll funnel some butter his way and tell him to play with it and enjoy it. Can't hurt. Can't hurt. I haven't done edibles in a while, be it cookies, brownies, gummies. You know, anybody here deal with RSO at all? I can't remember whose chat I was in, and somebody just absolutely swears by it 3 times a day. You know, because if anybody does or anybody makes their own, I don't know. I get wary of it that you have to heat it to get the alcohol to evaporate off. I'm wondering why you couldn't just leave it out and let the alcohol evaporate off. It will. It's just going to take a hell of a lot longer, which a lot of us have nothing but time. It's bad enough sometimes we're waiting how many months for a harvest? You know, we're planting from seed and we're running, 5 months or something insane like that. I just harvested Blue Dream and Acapulco Gold plant from. Oh, okay. 1, 2, 3 fat buds. Nice, Tree Nug. Nice. I was talking about it earlier. This is one of the first times that I'm running. I'm not knocking any of the other genetics I had, but a lot of them I don't know where they came from. So, as I said, between Seedsman and Hooligan, we're going to see what happens. And so far they're doing great. So, yeah, I know with the edibles. I order my gummies from Everything 420. The only thing that I don't like about them is I grow my own weed, so I know where it comes from and everything. These gummies that I get are kind of like a garbage pail gummy. They say, hey, we have THCA, we have this, we have that, we have whatever else in there. Don't get me wrong. They definitely get me torn up. But again, when I make my own stuff, I know, well, I generally make it so it's overkill. So you eat, a cookie and you're destroyed, which is probably not a good thing. So, sorry about that. I think that might have been my wife just calling. She must be on her lunch. So, I'm going to take 1 second and message her real quick to let her know that. Huh. There it goes. 1 second. Sorry about that. I'd mute it, but I'm busy talking to myself. There we go. Triple B Farms. Hey, I just saw you. Sorry, I was distracted for a second there. Thanks for swinging by. Yeah, I get that, home grow. I want to focus on some sativa strains too. Oh, holy smokes. I've got over 20 likes. Wow. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. See, I got off grid paying attention to stuff that I don't know I'm supposed to be paying attention to, but I got to tell you guys, I haven't done anything or done a video or whatever, but I'm planning on it for hitting 200 subs. I think I'm over 225 now, which is pretty cool, pretty exciting for someone who just wanted to share their grow and never thought they'd be doing something like this, sitting here talking to a bunch of great people. So this is fantastic. That it is. Huh. Well, we're coming up on an hour and a half here, so I think we're going to do another bong rip. Let me clean this out and repack a new one. I probably could have gotten some more out of that one, but that's okay. That is quite all right. This is being uncooperative, so we're just going to go with a different one. There we go. Mega Grinder once again. Tree Nug saying on the way to 500. Yeah. I don't know. It's I remember when I got 25, I wanted to like go out and celebrate because it's cool. It's cool. It is cool indeed. Packing this up. Let's come over here. Yeah, I should have turned the light back on. Maybe the next time I do a live, I will throw my light on. I've got one of those big ring lights. Awesome live. Cheers, everyone. Have a great day. We made it to July. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. I forgot all about that. Yes, July 1st. Sweet. Sweet indeed. All right, gonna do one more rip and then I'm gonna end this for anybody who's in here. Cheers, everybody. Excuse me. Growing more flower. Dude, good morning. How's it going? Nice. Nice indeed. Hey, thanks, Tree Nug. Thanks a lot. Hey, Frank, cheers. Cheers. Thanks for stopping in. All righty, everybody. I think I'm going to try and wrap this up now. I appreciate, excuse me, as I cough my head off from that last rip. I appreciate every one of you, and I thank y'all for stopping by. If you haven't already, like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you're subbed up to everybody in here because you guys are all great. And thanks. Thank you very much. I'll catch y'all later. There we go. Peace, everybody.